is Super Tuesday, or Super Thursday, as Biden might say, and one thing is clear, and that is Bernie must die. And Biden, of course, is the one to kill him. They think, at least. Because Biden, you see, has been the establishment favorite since the very beginning. And despite it literally being shocking that the Democrats would actually be stupid enough to commit political suicide again, like they did in 2016 by nominating somebody as unelectable and as laughable and as god-awful as Hillary as they did in 2016 and now Biden, this is the same establishment that thought it would be fruitful not to find actual flaws in Donald Trump's presidency and to instead go for stirring up baseless conspiracy theories about Russia, Ukraine, porn stars, and dementia. It's not a winning strategy, and that is why they lost and will ultimately lose again if this is how they choose to go forward. Plus, the United States fought a war to end slavery. Remember the little thing called the Civil War? But that doesn't mean we're not going to exploit some slave labor if it means cheaper products. Duh. Forget creating American jobs. We're just going to use China's slave market to earn a buck, right? Right? Come on, America. And finally, would you go see a chef to get a surgery? Probably not. Probably not. So why would a woman seeking to get an abortion go anywhere but a place that meets top medical standards? You know, unless it is that the left doesn't really care about women's health at all. Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge will be here to explain. That is all coming up. I'm John Miller, and the White House Brief begins now. All right, by the time you guys see this, it very well could be that likely several, if not all, of the 14 states have cast their votes in the primaries of Super Tuesday. And we're going to have a much better idea of who's ultimately going to be the Democrat nominee. So as it became more and more the consensus that Bernie would ultimately be the one to carry home the nomination, as early as last week people were saying that, well, the establishment wheels, they started to turn and they started to say, what can we do to take Bernie out and do everything in our power to rally behind the person who we think has the best shot to take him out and beat him? Because we can't have Bernie be the nominee. And so all of a sudden,
I am making the difficult decision to suspend my campaign for the presidency.
I am ending my campaign and endorsing Joe Biden for president.
I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
Man, I forgot what a loser that guy was. Now, they, of course, don't actually think that Biden's the best candidate or even an acceptable candidate, right? They don't. They're just falling in line with what the party tells them to do. When it comes to what they actually think about Biden, that is when they were asked before they had to cave to the party pressure, say on, for instance, MSNBC, they sounded a little more like this.
Is Joe Biden a return to the past?
He is, and that cannot be who we are going forward. We've got to be bigger. We've got to be bolder. We have to set a much higher mark and be relentless in pursuing that.
Yeah, sounds very different, right? Sounds very different before Bernie started to rise in the polls and be a threat to the DNC. Surging to a double-digit lead in some polls, Bernie was. And we know that that is actually unacceptable, right? That's extremely unacceptable for the establishment because Bernie is an outsider. And Bernie actually might not enrich the plutocratic donor class of the Democrat Party. So in the same way they rigged the election in favor of Hillary back in 2016, well, the plan is to rig it now in favor of Biden. Donna Brazile, remember Donna? Of course you do. She admitted this. You might remember in her book, she admitted it back in 2016 when she alleged that the DNC and the Clinton campaign had cut a deal that unfairly hurt Sanders. And while Donna Brazile was interim chair of the DNC, well, she gave Hillary Clinton broad approval and control over the party committee before she was the nominee in exchange for Clinton's help fundraising. And remember, she even gave Hillary Clinton the questions before a debate so that Hillary Clinton would have a leg up over her opponents. Sounds a little crooked to me. It was so bad, and Donna Brazile knew what she did was so wrong that she literally had to call up Bernie Sanders. Remember, she had to light the candles. It was an article in Politico, and call up Bernie Sanders to explain to him what happened. And she pretended to be apologetic. But of course, she actually felt no qualms because she's doing it again. She felt no qualms about doing it during the race, but don't you dare accuse the Democrat Party apparatus of doing it again, or Donna will come after you, and Donna will go ape you know what, and amid cussing her out, claim that RNC chair Ronna McDaniel is actually helping, you guessed it, the Russians.
And for people to use Russian talking points to sow division among Americans, that is stupid. So, Ronna, go to hell. This is not about, go to hell. I'm tired of it, Ed. We're not trying to prevent anyone from becoming the nominee. If you have the delegates and win, you will win. This notion that somehow or another Democrats are out there trying to put hurdles or roadblocks before one candidate, that's stupid.
It's stupid. Really? Why is it stupid? You guys have done it before. It's obvious. That's the tell. When people get belligerent like that, it means you're hovering right over the target. And a number of people in the media, like Cheryl Casson of Fox Business, answer this way when posed with the question of whether they feel actually all of this is being rigged against Bernie.
It looks like it was. And I'm sorry, but was Barack Obama involved in this? Was there some phone calls?
Good question. So Wall Street Journal editorial board.
Yeah, good question. Good question. We're not going to talk about that, right? Good question. Why is it a good question? Only because they've done it before. Of course, in this instance, Obama has been too embarrassed to actually come out and endorse Biden publicly, but it is clear that the party that Obama led for so many years has made a decision together to work and to crush Bernie. As Pat Buchanan wrote in his column today, the establishment ultimatum is everyone get with the program of breaking Bernie and go with Joe or face retribution. Why? Because they think that if the nomination actually goes to Bernie, like it was leading to, well, then he's going to be crushed by Trump. They don't realize that Joe Biden is also going to get crushed by Trump. Nor do they truly understand how laughable a candidate Joe Biden is with his endless string of gaffes, his flip-flops, and his lies. After all, this is the party that screwed over Bernie in order to hand the nomination over to the utterly detestable Hillary Clinton. They haven't a clue what actually appeals to the average voter. They spent the last 4 years trying to do just about anything but figure that out. Instead, they spun conspiracies, they chased down rabbit holes, they held endless testimonies and hearings. They lied. They sat in press conferences heckling the president. They made mountains out of fake news molehills, including tweets and typos, and how many scoops of ice cream the president ate, what kind of medications the president was using. Does the president have dentures? Is he suffering from dementia? Was there any way to get a campaign finance violation out of his alleged payments to porn stars? And who's this crazy woman over here making insane allegations about Trump raping her in a dressing room? Well, let's put her on prime time. They made up conversations out of whole cloth that the president had with the president of Ukraine. They tried to claim the president made up lies about Obama spying on his campaign, only for it to turn out to be that Obama actually did spy on his campaign. And they were so desperate to get him out of office that they actually used the results of that spying to file a FISA request that started the entire Russia collusion hoax. They spent all of their time doing that, and none of it trying to figure out what actually appealed to the American people. So it is their fault. And so it's no wonder that they see Joe Biden as their only hope in what is a pathetic case of the establishment attempting to strike back.